Well, let's not move on, actually, because this is basically just part 2 of your segment, which is everything in England is rubbish now. This is part of an ongoing mini-series, I would say, we have in the podcast.
I need to bring some clown makeup.
We really do, because nothing works in this country. So the towns don't work, but hey, maybe at least if you live in a town, you might be able to have somewhere nice to live in the town, seeing as we're all for building houses these days. Maybe these new houses are nice. No, they're not. I couldn't find it because Callum, being a bastard, having covered them before, has covered quite a bit to do with the new quality of housing in the country, the fact that it's made terribly, the contractors doing it don't know what they're doing, don't know how to put a house together, and the new flats in places like London are literally falling on top of one another, but they're worth £1 million somehow. I would have found those segment clips so that I could play a bit of them so we could take a look, but Callum chooses to name his segments things like, oh boy, and wowzers, can you believe this?
Yeah, good luck finding out what that's about.
Yeah. and so I couldn't find them. So you'll just have to take my word on it. And I can
I'm
cross-check.
playing the long game, motherfucker.
And I can cross-check and reference this with you, which is that, yeah, there was that TikTok, was it the TikTok builder going around a load of houses, a load of new builds, just going, look at the state of this, that's shoddy work, right?
Cool spanners have been out again, fucking wood butchers done it more.
Yeah, because we've got cowboys operating everywhere in this country. And the other one was there was a particular block of new build flats in London that were in a really expensive area. I forget exactly where. Some English guy was paying £900,000 for the privilege of owning the place, and the walls were falling apart and the ceiling was caving in. Is this correct? Am I getting the information right?
Yeah.
I would have cross-checked it, but screw you.
I can source my own claims.
Yep.
With my own voice.
Source me?
Yeah.
It came to me on TikTok. There you go. Trust me, bro, is the source there. But those of you who have watched the podcast will know the truth because you'll have watched every single episode like a good, dedicated person that you are. And so you'll know that what we're saying is the truth. If you've not seen those episodes, good luck finding them, I suppose. Blame Callum for that one.
Hello. Connor and Lewis Brackpool have recently spoke to me about why I should read C.S. Lewis, and we discuss his writing and his ideas. So whether you've read him or not, it's a good one to check out. So come on and sign up for the website. It's only £5 a month. You can do that.
But I wanted to just talk about that. Yeah, in communist Britain that we live in right now, all housing is slum housing, because not only do we have shitty housing associations and landlords that don't take care of the places that they're operating with, we've got shitty building contractors making really bad new homes, and then we've also got shitty tenants who don't know how to look after the homes that they're being given, especially if they're, shall we say, new British, being given social housing, and they come in and they see there's some black mold in the corner, and they go, I guess that's going to be a problem 3 months from now. And then they don't do anything about it. And sometimes they die.
I have a major question about houses in the UK. Why, why don't you put a window in the bathroom?
What, so people can peer in?
No, because you can open the window and you're going to have less mold and condensation.
Well, my bathroom's got a window in it. My parents' house has a bathroom in the window, a window in the bathroom.
No houses have.
All the other places that I've lived in have had a window in the bathroom. What's wrong with your place? Why have you got some kind of sensory deprivation box with a toilet in it?
Excuse me, I've seen many houses here who have bathrooms without windows.
I really thought you were going to ask, like, why do we have stupid taps or something like that?
No, it's about
why is it so expensive? Why do you get so little for your money?
Just have a window and open it, and then you're going to have less mold.
That's beyond us.
I mean, I do.
Okay,
I do. I don't know what you've been looking at.
You're lucky, but there are a lot of houses. There are a lot of houses.
There are some watching right now who don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
There are adults in Stevenage who don't have windows, you know.
They've never even heard of windows. The light of the sun has never touched their fragile skin. Okay. That was not the question that I was expecting you to ask, if I'm honest. But
okay, what kind of question would you think I was going to ask?
I was expecting you to ask why house is so small while being so expensive. Why is it that...
That's another one.
Why is it that like a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom in England will cost you upwards of 400 grand?
Okay.
Depending on where it is.
It's your fault, basically. You started the whole point about condensation. Okay? So when you're doing this, you are talking
Listen,
about.
you're the one that brought up
When
mold,
you're talking
Harry.
about the effect, you are also having to talk about the cause.
I mean,
the cause has to do with humidity.
The question that I want to know the answer is why so many people don't know how to open a window. If they have windows,
because there isn't there.
If they have windows, why don't people know to open them to let some air in and help prevent black mold and other problems that can build up? Because even when given windows, or even as we'll see as we go along, when given ventilation in your windowless bathroom, people do very strange and stupid things. But were you looking at chat? Was chat saying something?
I mean, they were just asking sensible things, which is, why do you dumb Brits have 2 taps instead of 1? Why do you have a washer and a dryer in the kitchen? That's weird. But that's because Americans have room to put those things.
I mean, my place, the taps have the 1 tap where you don't have to make the choice between ice water and scalding hot water. You can actually
2050, are we?
Adjust it. No. No, I don't even know how old the place that I'm living in is. It just has sensible taps. So there you go. So there's to answer that question. You can find them. You can find some places with bathrooms with windows in them. You can find sensible taps in England, but still the places you'll find them in are probably going to be vastly, vastly too expensive for what you're getting. So before I get into
have asked for 1 tap.
Okay. Before I get into the rest of it, there's a website. Callum will tell you this. Stelios will tell you this. There is a website. You might be watching us on this website right now. If you're not, you're watching us on Rumble. Give us a super chat. Callum's dying, so please put money towards his funeral expenses. And on the website, you can find series like Brokenomics, and the most recent episode came out yesterday, talking about the book The Sovereign Individual, which is a book about people from in the late 90s, one of whom was Jacob Rees-Mogg's dad, talking about the effect that will come from the internet and making some predictions of that, some of which, as Dan has told me, are remarkably prescient. So that might be an interesting one for you to watch. If you want to watch it, you can get a subscription on the website, £5 a month, etc., etc. You know all this by now. So let's look at it. So at the moment, there's going to be a crackdown on moldy houses in England because there's too many moldy houses. And I don't want to exactly throw all blame away from the people who are the landlords of these houses and the housing associations that look after these houses, because obviously there does seem to be some problems there. People are being alerted of problems like mold and leaks in the homes, which cause major problems, which can cause people big problems, and then they don't do anything about it. But also, spoilers here, people can buy black mold cleaner, the spray you can buy.
Find the source of the problem and just fix it yourself.
You can do that, but still, if you've got a leak, I would expect most people to, get in touch with the landlord or something. You can solve it yourself, but if you make your landlord and other people aware of it, they should at least try and do something to help repair it. So I'm not going to take all responsibility away from them. But there's this law coming in, which I've mentioned before, but it seems to be progressing, which is going to be Awab's law, I think. And that's named after 2-year-old Awab Ishak, who died from prolonged exposure to black mold in his family's Rochdale social housing flat. So housing that that his family was given at cut prices, because it's social housing, and that's how that works. Let's see if I can find the picture. Black mold like this. And if I scroll down, there might be more images of it. Oh, God. It's all going terribly wrong, isn't it? Yeah, here you go. Black mold like this. Pretty bad. But also, they were in that flat for a few years, I think, by that point. So that would not have been that bad to begin with. And my flat recently had black mold. And it was really simple. I went downstairs and got the spray. Sprayed, scrub.
Sorry, I have to add some things here because I faced some issues with black mold in my previous residence.
Oh, yes.
And I said it in a more formal way.
Previous residence.
Residence. Okay. No, basically, a lot of the times it is the landlord's and the agency's fault because you are phoning them and they tell you, okay, no, just clean it, but it doesn't go away 100%. It comes back again.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times they tell you, well, just have the heater on, You can't have the heater on all the time.
Have the heater on.
Yeah, because they tell you
if
need
you
to
have the
increase the
heater on,
temperature.
if you have the heater on with the windows closed, that's going to create an environment where it's going to spread.
Well,
because especially if you've
it can
got
also
damp,
spread
that can make
when
it
you
worse.
have cold temperatures and really wet temperatures. But anyway, it's very easy here for people in agencies to just pass the fault and the blame on the tenants. And anyway,
So as far as I can see, there's failings going on in a number of places that a lot of these people aren't cleaning up after themselves and aren't cleaning the mold. If the mold's just started, then you are able to do it. These people will be moving into houses where either the previous tenant or the housing association or landlord haven't done anything about the problems that were already there. And then they're just there not doing anything about it either. Yeah. So everybody's making stupid decisions. And it means that all of this housing is rubbish and not really fit for purpose a lot of the time. If you can go in and this new house that you've been given or this new flat that you've been given is going to give you respiratory diseases because of how poorly it's been kept, that's a problem. That's a problem for everybody.
What, do you expect me to disagree? No, I'm on team mold.
You just had a look on your face like you had something to say about all of this. That's all. So I'll just
a moldist.
Yeah, I stand with the mold.
Yeah. So I'll just give some information. So the Royal College of Physicians has called on Michael Gove to accelerate a promised crackdown on landlords failing to fix tens of thousands of moldy homes, with a warning that unless laws are toughened, many more people will die from the effects. As the Housing Ombudsman reported, increased failures among landlords to properly tackle damp, mold and leaks in England's social housing. Professor Sir Stephen Holgate, special advisor on the air quality to the RCP, warned of widening ill health as more people inhale fungal toxins. It creates problems like headaches, low energy, declining immunity, increased susceptibility among children for respiratory infections, as well as deaths, which is what happened to this kid right here. In the 9 months since March, the Housing Ombudsman for England, Richard Blakeway, made 721 findings of fault in how landlords tackled damp, mold and leaks more than for the previous 12 months and several times more than 2020 to 2021. About 88,000 households in social housing are believed by the regulator of social housing to be living with serious damp and mold problems. Last year, Gove, the Secretary of State for Levelling Up, one of the most worthless and stupid titles ever granted to anyone in this country, Levelling Up Housing and Communities promised to introduce Awab's law, setting tough deadlines for landlords to fix mouldy homes. After 2-year-old Awab Ishak died from prolonged exposure to black mold in his family's Rochdale social housing flat. On Tuesday, yesterday, Gove announced an 8-week consultation on proposals to require social landlords to investigate hazards within 14 days, start fixing problems within a further 7 days, and make emergency repairs within 24 hours, or pay compensation to tenants. So this might be a good thing for landlords like slum landlords that aren't treating the properties well, because if you've got a situation where you've got one person moving out, another person moving in that interim period, you as a landlord really should be fixing up any problems like damp and mold, like leaks that are popping up so these people aren't moving into these situations. But if they are moving into a situation where the house is fine, and then all of a sudden all this stuff pops up and they can't sort mold and other such things out by themselves because they just sit there going, what do? I can't breathe anymore. What do? That's partially their own fault. So
there's two classes of people with these problems we've discovered.
Yes.
By I'm sure you're getting to it actually. Sadiq Khan's Twitter feed has told us.
Yes. And this is, I don't know if we covered this at the time. So this is just some context, but I think the best context for it really, because it's not just something that's affecting foreigners. We've also got this woman, Shelby Atherton, who was in the same area under the same housing association in Rochdale.
Also in social housing or not?
Yeah, also social housing by the looks of it, saying that she moved into this place and it had all of these problems. And so she was worried that it was going to make her daughter sick and they had to move out. So there are problems, but also this is the sort of person we're normally talking about in these situations. Did we show this video at the time when it was released? Did we cover this?
Not in detail, but you can... I suppose let's just go into it, because it's amazing to see. And it really gets to your point that, okay, some of the people we're talking about have done this to themselves. And the difference is... The difference is that non-Northern Europeans aren't used to a Northern European climate. So when they come to a Northern European climate, some of them don't really understand why we have certain things.
Yes. It's very usual for houses here, because you want to heat the place up, to get a bit moldy, because you put the heating up and you close the windows to retain the heat, and then that can provide the environment where you can get some mold popping up in your house. You are able to deal with that by cleaning it up. Not to spoil anything, but wow.
Seal it bang.
Right there. Seal it bang.
Sponsored by the Lotus Eaters.
And the mold is gone. £3.50 from your local Tesco. Or you can find own brand for even cheaper.
Death to Tesco. Go somewhere else.
You can get it from Asda.
Yay!
Yeah, there you go. Or even Morrison's. Or if you're feeling fancy, I'm sure Waitrose does some of their own black mold cleaner. But you can just get this. This seems to be above certain new Britons coming into the country. Let's just play this clip, because it is quite remarkable, because there are a few telling signs of the character of this person that Sadiq Khan has decided to broadcast for the BBC. So most people living in poor conditions don't get this kind of coverage, and they certainly don't get the sort of coverage by Sadiq Khan. Imagine why Sadiq Khan chose this person to go and visit, and then keep your eyes and your ears peeled for a few telling signs here, okay? So let's go.
Hello.
The mayor has come to visit the home where Dariana lived for more than 2 years.
So as you can see, the skylight was cracked, which is causing rainwater to flow into the property.
She shared this one-bedroom flat with her 2 children.
1, 4.
4.
¿Y cómo se dice? 12. 12.
Okay, and you've got another good news coming soon.
Yeah.
Best of luck.
The next week.
Pregnant Dariana and her children were without heating or hot water for months.
Solo con esto calentamos el agua.
She was using this one.
The kettle.
Yeah, to the kettle to get hot water so she can take a shower.
Sí, estaba muy fría. Los niños siempre estábamos en el hospital y era muy frío.
It was very, very cold. She was always in the hospital with the kids, because it was very cold and it was molting everywhere. You got water dropping on the floor and everything.
Mm-hmm. Dariana says the landlord wouldn't fix the problems, but put the rent up by £200 to £1,300 a month. So she contacted the council. It's made an order to prevent anyone else renting the home until the work is done.
Unfortunately, these are very common. We see these kind of properties probably weekly. Maybe not to this severity, but the same sort of situation: damp and mold, excess cold, lack of heating.
Sadiq Khan was here to announce that 300 environmental officers like Blaze have been trained with City Hall funding to boost council's enforcement powers.
Yeah, I think we've got the gist of that there, because the rest of it is just Sadiq Khan blathering on about how we need more communism to solve this problem.
So are we playing a game? How many dog whistles did you see?
So I'll throw one out first. Can't speak English properly.
Yeah, speak Spanish.
Speak Spanish to communicate. Needs other foreigner to act as middleman for communication. Okay.
Give her a free house. Okay.
Give her a free house. Okay. What else did we notice, boys? Chip. Twice in the video. We got
sky ceiling birds. They've come to Britain.
Yeah, we got some chirping there. Also, did anybody notice? Let's see if I can find it.
Yeah.
This.
Yeah.
Now, if you're trying to air out a bathroom and you don't have a window, perhaps, this isn't what I would recommend to solve the problem.
This is what I meant by... So if you're not used to a climate, you do stupid things. Like when you're in Russia, for example, I walked around without a hat for a long enough time until I realized I should be wearing a bloody hat because my head is literally freezing off.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand why you would need ventilation in a Northern European climate that you've just moved to, you'd probably look at that big vent that's letting out all the heat in your mind and think, why is that there? I'm going to get some duct tape and duct tape up the vent. What might be the effects of doing that doesn't enter your head.
Well, what are the effects of doing that, I wonder?
Yeah.
I did see some people also speculating that she might have been doing this because she might have been smoking in the bathroom and didn't want it going into the ventilation.
That doesn't make much sense. I'm sure you want it to go in the ventilation.
No, well, you never know with some people. But yeah, so there's a few signs there. And also, remember, she's complaining about the fact that landlord won't do anything. So we've got this person coming into housing which isn't fit for occupation, possibly before she got there, but certainly made worse by her being there, not fixing these problems, not changing the smoke alarm battery.
But that didn't affect the mold.
That didn't affect the mold, but Jesus Christ, can you imagine living in there? Good God. Although, to be fair, if I moved in there, that would be the first thing I'd do. And the first thing, there we go. Honey, have we got any batteries? Oh, thank you. There we go, sorted. But also, if she's in contact with the landlord and the landlord's just not doing anything, how easy is it for that landlord, presumably, to slip anything past and be an effective slum landlord because she can't speak English properly? Because she can't communicate? Because, oh, great, I don't have to do anything now because this person can't speak English.
I mean, I used to know, yeah, I can tell this story. In university, one of the cleaners that came to our hall to clean out the showers and whatnot, she also owned property, so she would offer it to the students. So she was a cleaner, doesn't pay much. She's actually a landlord. That's where she makes her money. She's a cleaner to get access to students one-on-one.
Clever.
So then she could offer up rooms at what seemed like good prices. And then the house one of my friends moved into, every single bedroom was somewhere that's being rented. The front room was being rented. The dining room was being rented.
The dining room?
The dining room was converted into a bedroom being rented.
Oh, bloody hell.
And then there was an illegal structure built in the backyard, was also being rented out to someone to live in. So she had 6 students living in a house with 3 bedrooms.
I forget what the term is, but I'm sure there's regulations against that.
Really illegal, yeah.
Yeah, that's very illegal to do.
But the people she rented out, because she was Chinese, were mostly Chinese. And they don't know the law. Like, I had conversations with them. They didn't realize that, yeah, this is not allowed.
Were they unhappy with the situation?
Quite.
Yeah, I bet they were. So, yeah, it turns out that we've got lots of problems in this country. And to a certain extent, as much as I want these people who are slum landlords to be cracked down on with laws like this is basically also taking most responsibility away from anybody in these conditions, like this woman, to actually take care of her living space. Because I guess the landlord just has to do everything for me now because the law says so. So, yeah, we're in communist Britain. And once again, nothing is working as it should.
If you appreciated that episode from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium contents on the site, such as the Epoch series, this episode on King John, Part 1. If you'd like to find out what else is being put out, you can follow on Twitter at lotuseaters_com on Twitter. Thank you and goodbye.